guys, I'm back with another video! Yay! So I'm really sorry that I didn't post a video last week. I was going to, but as you all know, I started work again last week. So I got home really tired and I ended up not finishing the book I was reading until the weekend. But I have finished reading the book and I am ready to review it for you guys, and that is what I'll be doing today. So my last video, you should know that I was reading Throne of Glass by Sarah J. Maas, and I finished reading this over the weekend. It took me a while because it got a bit slow towards the end, and I'll get into that in a minute. But I finished reading it this weekend. I got it at Sam's and it cost me only like $8.98, so it's a great deal. And I pretty much read it because a lot of my friends had been reading it and really recommended it. So I decided to get into it, and here's my review. As always, before I start, a huge spoiler warning because I'm going to be talking about all aspects of the story, even if I might not mention a lot of spoilery stuff. I think it's safer to just put a spoiler warning right up there. So Throne of Glass. Before I start getting into the novel, I just want to say that I'm not usually a huge high fantasy fan. That's probably why I never really got into Lord of the Rings and all that stuff. Though I read The Hobbit in high school and I really liked that. I really enjoyed The Hobbit. But I tried reading the rest of the Lord of the Rings book and they just like didn't hook up to me. I also started reading another Sarah J. Maas book, which was Court of Thorns and Roses. I believe that's the name, which is a Beauty and the Beast retelling. And I just couldn't get into it. I might give it another try eventually. So I was a little nervous going into this one because I had read a lot of great things, but high fantasy is really not a genre I'm really into. But either way, I decided to give it a try. So what can I tell you about Throne of Glass? I enjoyed it, but I'm still not sure if I really enjoyed it or I really didn't. I'm kind of in a middle ground. I really enjoyed the beginning. I read a lot, about 100 pages the first day, so I was really into it if I read 100 pages in one day. I was interested to find out more about the characters. I was interested to find out more about... Give me a minute. Celaena Sardothien? I believe that's how you say it. I am using the pronunciation guide that is in the book because I really don't want to mess up these names. So I really liked Celaena as a character, and I really wanted to know more about her. I really enjoyed the chapters that were from her point of view because I felt there was a lot of character in Celaena. Obviously, if you're a book character, you should have a lot of character, but there are a lot of book characters that don't have charisma, and I think Celaena has that charisma, and I could identify with her. Even though she's much younger than I am, I could identify with her and a lot of her problems and the way she saw the world. So I really enjoyed Celaena as a whole, as a character, and I liked her arc through the story. Sometimes she seems a little bit too much the damsel in distress, but this is high fantasy and there's court life and all of that, so I understand that at points it would get into that, particularly because there's a love triangle. Yeah, I should have expected a love triangle. I can't remember the last novel I read that didn't have a love triangle, so yeah. But right now, between the two characters, which is the prince and the army guy, I'll say his name in a minute, I'm leaning more towards Chaol Westfall. Chaol Westfall, that's his name. The army guy, Chaol Westfall. I'm leaning more towards him. I like the way he behaves around Celaena, how he's like really rude and brusque like an army guy would be, but he's totally blushy and so embarrassed to be around her because he's attracted to her. I just really enjoy the interactions between them, and I kind of wanted to skip over the prince stuff to get to them together and talking more, and sadly it never came. We don't really see as much of them in this book as we see of Celaena and the prince, So I'm hoping if I read the second book, I'll get more of that. Like, that's my motivation to read the second book, but I'll get into that in a minute. So what about the plot? Well, the plot is pretty simple. Celaena has been in a prison for a really long time because the king put her there because she was an assassin, and the prince comes to pick her up and take her back to the castle so she can be the king's champion in this like all-out battle between thieves, assassins, and everything to become the official champion of the king. So she has to fight all these other guys to get that position, and a lot of things happen in between. There's a lot of supernatural demon interaction that I really wasn't expecting, which is strange. I was expecting more like creatures, like ogres or something like that, something Lord of the Ringsy. I wasn't expecting like demons and supernatural, otherworldly, dark magic type of things. Though I was interested to know more about the elves, this is like the only time like we got to see more about that elfin culture, which I really wanted to know more about, and it was sort of confusing, the whole deal with the marks and the demons trying to help this one champion. It was confusing to me, and it came at a weird spot in the book. It was like kind of more than halfway through that they started talking about this, and I was like, whoa, I just thought like a guy was murdering the other guys, not that there was like the supernatural involved. So I'm not sure how I feel about the book, to be honest. I think in terms of reviewing it, I would give it 3.5, almost 4 bookmarks. Yes, 3.5, almost 4 bookmarks. I would go full 4, but I'm like really confused about where I stand with this book. I really like the beginning, obviously, because I read a lot in the beginning, so I was into it. And then it kind of mellowed down, and it picked up again in the middle, a little bit after the middle, when she starts finding out about the supernatural stuff, and the ball happens, and she has these interactions with the princess and all of that. And then at the end, it kind of just died down again. The end was really anticlimactic to me. I really wanted more out of that fight. I wanted more things to happen, but it was so fast. Like, I was imagining it, like, what would this look like in a movie? And it, like, went by in a flash. So I was a little disappointed. But the middle part of the book is really, really good. That's why I'm, like, sticking out with it. And I actually do want to read the second novel, if only to find out what happens between Celaena and Chaol. I really want to know what happens between them, and I've heard that there's more in the second book, so I'm gonna have to check it out, and maybe I'll even like it more than the first one. I just want to see where the plot goes, because right now I have no idea what's gonna happen. Okay guys, so those were my thoughts on Throne of Glass by Sarah J. Maas. I'm gonna be checking out the sequel as soon as I can get my hands on it, but I'm actually doing something rather exciting right now. I am reading Harry Potter and the Cursed Child, and I am almost done. I'm like 80% on my Kindle, so I should be done pretty soon, probably tonight. So expect a review of that either tomorrow evening or Friday. I promise it'll be up before the weekend. I have a lot to say about Harry Potter and the Cursed Child, and if you guys follow me on social media, you'll know that I have very strong opinions about it. And if you've already seen my Harry Potter video that I did about Harry Potter losing its magic, you probably know how I feel about it. So I have a lot to say, and it's probably gonna be a long video, so stay tuned for that one. It's gonna be awesome, and after that I will tell you what I'm gonna be reading next, okay guys? So thank you so much for watching. As always, if you enjoyed my videos and want to see more, click the subscribe button and leave your comments down there with recommendations. I'm always open to them. I'll see you guys in a few days. Bye. And they're not very long. Try to organize them. Say from morning to noon, I'm going to try to read chapters 1 through 10 of this novel.